This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I've been all in my bag, you been all in my business. You be all in your feelings. I've been all in them trenches. I've been all in my bag.
Hey guys, I'm Sai. Welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of our wrestling series, Keepin It Real. You can get all our shows on in video format, youtube.com/Ace Podcast Nation. Click the bell for notifications and subscribe to get all our shows first. But if you prefer your podcast in audio form, we are now part of the Sports Social Podcast Network, which is the UK's first ever all sports podcast network. Everything produced by Ace Podcast Nation all goes there. It's all got its own little websites, all little pages, so you can check out each show separately, and then the kind of non-sporting ones will be under on the Ace Podcast Nation page. So you've got your mental serial killer files, your mental health, conspiracy theories, all that good stuff, all under that banner. But Keeping It Real, the MMA and boxing show, Danny Batten show, that's got its own page and feed. Same with the football shows, Rodri Giggs on football. They've all got their own shit. But joining me for the first time in a while, I'm delighted to welcome back the GOAT. It is Post Wrestling's writer and interviewer, one of the best in the business. It is Mr. Andrew Thompson. How are you, sir?
I have returned because Sai has finally paid me my royalties. So we was able to work that out. The lawyers got the contract sorted.
Such a carny.
Nah.
Carny. He's trying to Heyman me. Just trying to get that money up front.
Paul Heyman's landed?
Yeah, so bad that I had to bring in Joe Holbert last week just to hold the ship down, and he said that you were avoiding him. It's getting bitter. I don't know how we're going to get through the whole show pretending to be friends when it's getting real nasty behind the scenes. It's going to be difficult. Do you see it then? The iciness, the silence speaks volumes. This man is like Vince McMahon versus
Whoa.
You're the Vince McMahon. I'm the fresh young guy, Tony Khan, coming in, signing all the big guns. And you're Vince, who's keeping people off shows, keeping them in catering, just releasing people. Gosh, such a bad guy.
My ultimate goal is to ultimately just replace you with your son. Yeah, that is the ultimate goal.
The long-term goal, isn't it?
The long-term.
Just have one of my kids sat here doing the show. It's, do you know, mate? Do you know where I want to start this evening? Like, we could start with All Out. We could start with all this different stuff. There's so much to talk about. What I want to start about, because I find this fascinating, is the report that Vince McMahon, basically, in his bid to keep Daniel Bryan, was willing to let Daniel Bryan work in the G1. So says David Meltzer. And I mean, Daniel Bryan intimated that they were going to let him work shows outside of WWE. That shows how much they wanted to keep him. That shows how much. And like, I've seen a few people saying, oh, it's not a big loss for WWE. The man main evented WrestleMania in whatever it was, April. It's a huge, not just a huge loss, but a huge get for WWE. But like, that is unheard of, isn't it? For WWE to sort of say to him that he could have worked in the G1 is incredible, really.
Yeah, I saw the like a lot of people were joking about it. They was like, does Vince even know what the G1?
Yeah.
Does he even know what the G1 is? Like, I'm pretty sure like at some point he probably got filled in on like what it is, and
yeah,
it's not. Yeah, but I mean, that like anybody who is actually saying that Bryan isn't a loss for WWE, they're lying. Like, he's literally been like a focal point on their program since like 2013, and like even before then he wasn't a focal point, but he was still like heavily featured on the program. And then like in 2013 he just like took off Much to the even as much as they tried to stop that from happening,
Yeah.
they couldn't control it. And I mean, like, I think a lot of people kind of saw the signs when he did that interview with Barstool Sports, and then he was just like, when he came out at Mania this year, he didn't feel anything, and he was just like,
That's a problem, isn't it?
he was just like, he didn't feel like he looked at the crowd and was like, oh, look at all these people, this is cool. Okay, let's get to the match. And then after
Yeah.
the match, he was just like, I want to go home.
Yeah, and when you think of what preceded WrestleMania, like the pandemic and not having fans in the state in the in the arenas and stuff, like that's quite a telling thing, isn't it, for him to not really have that. Like that was the first major show, wasn't it, with fans, I think.
Mm.
So like to not have that sort of connection and that emotional feeling, that's not, clearly a lot of the guys and girls did. Like that's obviously a problem. But also, he had the Total Divas stuff. He was on the Smackdown creative team. Guy was heavily ingrained in WWE life. He spoke highly of them as well, and he spoke highly of Vince. He said he's got a really good relationship with him and stuff. But what will be will be. I'm excited to see what what he does over the next couple of years, because look, a guy's incredible. He was incredible in WWE, and with that extra bit of creativity and freedom that he's going to get, it could be an exciting time for Bryan Danielson fans.
But you know what's crazy? Like I think him leaving is probably like the most telling thing out of everybody, because
Of course it is.
he didn't have like anything bad to say. Like if you listen to the media scrums he did, he was just like, I had a great relationship. I love Vince. It was all good, and he was just like, but I couldn't miss out on this opportunity. I think that just says a lot, and it's going to say a lot about in the coming months and years, like about who exits. Just
Yeah,
because like they may not even have a bad relationship, bro. It's just AEW just hot right now. Like, why wouldn't you want to go be a part of that? Like, I think probably one of the big, like, I know a lot of people are looking at the Kevin Owens and the Sami Zayns and stuff like that, but I think if there was ever someone that Tony Khan could possibly scoop that could make a major difference, like if I was looking at that roster, bro, you want to know who I'm looking at? I'm looking at Naomi. Can you imagine if
oh,
they was able
imagine
to
what they
pull
could do with her.
if they was able to pull Naomi in? She would probably be the most experienced person on that in that women's division.
Sasha,
You possibly like is
she's
you
had
just
issues with WWE in the past. Like I don't think like. I look at Charlotte. She feels, or she did feel like a lifer. I thought Bray Wyatt, people like that, I thought they were lifers, in fairness. But like I look at Sasha and I think I wouldn't be surprised to see her turn up on AEW one day. I wouldn't be surprised now to see Charlotte turn up on on AEW one day. Like
I don't think she leaving. I
I
can't
just
see it. Like
think,
even Ric Flair like went public and was just like, she's not leaving. There's no
yeah,
way.
you never know what's down the line, though, mate. And I just think um, it depends how things pan out. Look, last night's Smackdown was a really phenomenal show, and if they can put together regular Monday and Friday shows like that, that's a great sign for wrestling fans. Because Dynamite was good on Wednesday, All Out was incredible. That's just good. NXT was very good on Tuesday as well. So like that is so good for wrestling fans to have that many good shows throughout the week, and they can just push each other. But unfortunately, so often we've seen with WWE that they aren't able to sustain that momentum with good shows for whatever reason. Just quickly on the obviously we had Adam Cole come in, Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho's looked great in the two matches she's had.
That song is so catchy.
Yes, it
The
is.
destination.
But then, do you know what, mate? The Ruby Soho song, great. Bryan Danielson's new music is
I like it.
phenomenal.
I like it. It's
Even
so
Adam
different.
Cole's music, when I listen to it back, great, really fits in good. Like all three, they hit those music out of the park. And I didn't like some of the early AEW music themes that they had. Some of them I wasn't fussed on. So I was really happy that they hit those three out the park. Obviously, we also had Suzuki turn up at All Out. That was a great moment. Probably overshadowed a little bit by the other stuff that went on during the show. You had CM Punk's first match. You had obviously Adam Cole turned up, and then Bryan Danielson. There's so much I want to talk about, but very quickly, what did you think of CM Punk's first match in 7 years?
I thought it was solid. Like I didn't think it was anything. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be like some classic. Like I was thinking like he was gonna go out there, he was gonna do a good job, and he did. And then I was like when I finished it, I was like, he's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like
he
gonna
didn't
be,
shit the bed.
he's gonna be
basically.
just he's gonna be just fine. That's what the same thing like that's basically what I was thinking once it was over. I was like, he's gonna be okay. And then like I remember I did a post show out there, and I was like, his next feud is probably gonna be against Powerhouse Hobbs, or that's gonna be like the main thing. Like he's probably gonna run through Ricky Starks. He probably gonna have Hook's first match, and then he's gonna go on to face Powerhouse Hobbs. I think Hobbs gonna be the first person to pin him, and I think he should. To be honest with you, like I don't think it's gonna hurt Punk at all.
I think they should hold it off though for
a big show. Yeah, don't waste it. Yeah, but I definitely think Hobbs.
There's enough that they can do.
Remember, I said this. Hobbs is gonna be the first person to pin Punk.
I think there's with Team Taz, and you could perhaps interject like Sting and Darby Allin as partners for Punk or whatever, or whoever. Like there's enough different combinations of matches that you can do in that feud and promos and attacks that you don't do that win on like not even like a big Dynamite, like they do the big Dynamite shows every now and again. Keep that for the next pay-per-view with Hobbs beating CM Punk. I think that's a good build-up and story. I called Adam Cole joining the Elite. I do think it's not going to be a long thing. I do think that he is probably going to kind of turn on them like fairly soon. And he's kind of going for the kind of like take them down for them from the inside sort of thing. But maybe not. We'll see.
No, I think Cole is going. He's going to take the Bucks away from the Elite, and then I think people sort of all signs the idea of I think there's an idea of Kevin Owens possibly making the jump, and if that is the case, I can definitely see Adam Cole trying to take away the Bucks from the Elite, and maybe Omega as well, and then split them from because I don't know if you noticed, but the last two promos
Gallows
he did,
Anderson didn't
he didn't mention Gallows and Anderson, so I think that's something that's very telling.
Yeah, do you think they'll go with like Adam Cole and the Bucks versus Omega and the Good Brothers, or do you think they'll take like Omega with them as well?
Oh, repeat that.
So do you think it'll be Adam Cole and the Young Bucks versus Omega and the Good Brothers, or do you think the Good Brothers will kind of go and they'll just do Omega, Young Bucks, and Cole as a group?
I don't really know what the Good Brothers fit into the situation. It's kind of weird. I think we're gonna end up getting at the Arthur Ashe show. We're probably gonna get Adam Cole and the Bucks versus Danielson and Jurassic Express. Yeah. And I could probably see like Luchasaurus or Jungle Boy taking the pin or something like that. So I could definitely see something like that being added to that show. But for all the Good Brothers, they're like in a weird spot right now. Like I can't tell if it's just story or Adam Cole just like legit now not mentioning them. But I like it. So I really can't tell like which way they're gonna go. But it's definitely interesting. AEW, they got a lot of momentum right now. But I think both major companies need to start working on spotlighting their women's division more. I think there's a lot of talents in both women's divisions that need to be spotlighted. Like as we saw last night, I think we John Pollock, who I work with at Post, and Sean Ross both reported there were multiple like cuts. I think not people cuts, but like segment cuts. And Zelina Vega, she was supposed to be on that show. Like her father passed away in 9/11, and like it wasn't like some here you go sob story. Like she was legit supposed to be on the show. Like she's supposed to be.
She was part of the tribute earlier in the day as well, wasn't she?
And that was a special thing for her. And then she, today she announced the names at the I don't know if you saw the clip, but not the clip, the whole video. She was at the 9/11 site, and she announced the names of the people who passed away and like gave a speech about her dad and stuff. Like it was real cool. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but I was very surprised that she, out of everybody, didn't get in the show. Considering she from New York too.
Yeah, why didn't they just put it even right? Like,
Wait, so if you was booking it, well, if you was putting the show together,
I'd have
what do you
found a
cut?
room for her.
But what
I
do
would
you
have
cut?
found, but well, I would have.
Oh, cut down.
Worst case scenario, you give her a promo, the backstage promo where she can talk about her. You only need what, a couple of minutes for that.
Yeah.
But you could have cut some of the Edge and Seth Rollins match down a bit because that was quite long. It's difficult because SmackDown was actually really good last night. But I mean, I saw some people saying they could have cut the match with Sami Zayn and the basketball player, but I thought that was pretty entertaining.
That was
and
great.
You had
That was
the
great.
basketball player really bought into it and stuff.
You know the story behind that.
Vaguely, not like
He
massively, but he won something, didn't he? In this
he
MCG.
this pad like this you know the NBA playoffs, right?
Yeah,
He his team eliminated the New York Knicks from the playoffs, and the series was like real heated. Like one of the fans like spit on him, and he was like they was like boom. Like I'm talking about you talking about crowd heat. Like it was I'm talking about every time he stepped in MSG. I'm talking about they bringing signs talking about he balled in and like just taking like going real personal. Like the crowd was like getting on it. He was like loving. Like he was like the villain. Like he and the thing was he was like really embracing it. And then of course it made it only 10 times better when his team put him out the NBA, put the Knicks out the playoffs. So like it's like they cannot stand this dude in Madison Square Garden. Like it's hilarious. Like especially after once the dude tried to spit on him. He I think he won that game and he put up like 47 points. So yeah, like I said, I don't know who made that call, but whoever did that, kudos. That was
it made sense, didn't it?
that was very smart. Like, and I feel like people who don't even like really tune into basketball like that sort of understood, even though they like. I think that was just that was a cool little move. I like if I had to cut something, I probably would have took down Edge versus Rollins a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I was like, hey, shit ain't need all that damn time. Like they did the thing at SummerSlam. Like you could have got to all that in like
could have cut it down.
10 minutes.
Yeah, there was ways and means that they could have fit something in for her to do, and I thought, and even like they could have had her do a dark match or a dark segment.
There you go.
Before or after, and filmed it for YouTube. You know, it's and social media and things like that. I didn't understand it. It's frustrating as hell for these female performers that they always seem to be the people who are cut for time. But
they could have did the contract segment next week. Go home.
Yeah, there's many ways they could have done it, isn't it? And it's just I don't know. I find it frustrating, so I'm sure they find it even more frustrating. Another thing I wanted to ask you, and as is tradition with the shows we do, we just kind of throw stuff around. I saw someone suggest that maybe Lesnar will join sort of Roman and his group with Heyman for temporarily, and then they'll sort of break off a bit. I don't think that's going to happen. But I did see something else about someone joining the group, which I found quite interesting after last night's Rampage particularly, and that was I saw someone suggest that Andrade will join Death Triangle. And I thought the booking last night was quite interesting, that Andrade was pissed that Chavo had cheated and he sort of took him out and left. And I thought, oh, well, that's quite interesting, because that's almost like a face turn, which opens the door for him to join them. And I actually think that it could be quite a good little group for him to join, to be honest. And I don't know what you feel about that, whether that would be worthwhile, but yeah, I quite like that idea.
I feel like they need to do something with Andrade. Like, I mean, well, I think they all trying. Like his whole run in AEW just hasn't really clicked yet. And I mean that's shit happens sometimes. But the thing I do like about AEW is like they try to mix up different stuff. Like even with the Miro, look at Miro. He came in and like the video game stuff. It was like it was okay. He was still like dominant. But then like at some point they were just like, okay, let's just go forward dominant. And now look at him. Like he's doing like the best work of his career right now. Like I don't even think he should lose the TNT title no time soon. It just don't make no sense to. And then
No.
like with Andrade, I think a Death Triangle thing might be cool. Like maybe he switch up his gear or something like that. Maybe he go
Yeah.
back to the
The
regular
Sombra.
go back to the regular stuff. And like I always thought that you know, I thought it would have been a good first person to sort of manage Andrade. Like I thought it was Selena De La Renta from MLW. But she used to be with MLW. I think that'd have been a good call. I know people probably don't want to go back to like, you know, people would have probably tried to compare it to Zelina Vega and stuff like that. But I think she used to manage the Lucha Brothers in MLW like for a long time, and they won the tag title. So I think that'd have been like a nice little like, hey, you know, we can get both of y'all together and we can do this type thing.
Yeah.
That'd have been cool. But
Yeah,
I just think they need to
needs a
find something
manager.
for him.
He needs someone to manage him, I think, and speak for him.
So
So they've either got to find.
Let me ask you this: do you think that's only because Zelina Vega did such a good job? Like, do you think if she would have never managed him in WWE, people would never say he needed a manager?
I don't know.
I think it's just because she did such a good job in her role that's the thing that people are going to associate with him the most.
Yeah, I think there is a part of that, but there's also when he has done promos on AEW, they haven't quite hit for me. But that's not to say that they can't in the future. Just the ones that he has done haven't quite clicked for me. So, you know, maybe he doesn't and he'll do something. But, you know, there's one way around that is to have him join sort of Death Triangle because, you know, they've got guys, obviously they've got Pac and they've got Ray Phoenix who can talk. So, you know, Penta doesn't do any talking really other than he speaks in Spanish. Or they bring someone else in, like you say. But I'd like to see Andrade really kind of kick on now. I thought that was his best match since he's left WWE. Because I've found a lot of his. I think the AAA match he did with Omega was like, meh.
It was okay.
So like, I thought that was his best match yet, which was good. So now he needs to really kind of step up what he's going to do, both with his ring work and his, you know, everything really.
That's a high competition level in AEW.
Yeah, God, their roster is insane now, mate.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about the Brian Cage stuff.
Yes, you said you were going to have something to say. So from what I can gather, his wife said
that he's underutilized in AEW, and she went like a whole rant about it, and then he agreed. Well, he posted like one of those like subliminal memes, like he quote tweeted her tweet and was just like, I mean, with the dot.
Yeah,
I think that's
It's there's a couple ways to look at it, I guess, isn't there? And I think there's one side where you could see, yeah, okay, maybe he's been a bit underutilized, but if you look at the people they've pushed and who've had big feuds, like who should he replace? Like whose slot should he take? And honestly, like when he's been in a really kind of prominent position, I don't think he's done like such a good job that I'm saying, right, yeah, he should replace someone or X. Like he's a good worker. He's you know, he's got a great look. He's got a unique look. All that stuff. He's definitely someone they can use. But when you look at their roster, I'm just not convinced that he's got something which doesn't click for me. That like he's not the guy who's going to go up there and challenge Omega or be in, you know, the main event picture. Could he be a good opponent for Miro? Maybe. Yeah, I think that's a possibility. They could have quite a kick-ass feud, but I'm not sure.
I think Powerhouse Hobbs outshining him, bro. Like, and it's not a bad thing. It's just like when Hobbs came in,
isn't it?
he just there you go. I don't even say nothing else. Like it just happens like that sometimes. Like somebody come in and they just better than you. Like
Look, not everyone can be in the title picture.
And Cage isn't bad.
In the main picture, and yeah, he's good. He's all right, but you know, not like everybody can be at the top of the card. Sometimes
when Hobbs came in, Team Taz, like, it's just something about Hobbs that sort of separates him from K. I don't know what it is,
yeah.
But you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. It's
I
just
don't
one
know
of
what
those
it is.
things.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's like the problem is like they like, of course, Brian Cage has got this crazy unique look which no one else has got. We know that, but there's other people who've got good looks who are just clicking at the moment, and like you say, you mentioned Powerhouse Hobbs, he's clicking.
Yeah,
Miro
yes.
is clicking. You've got Omega and all them; they're all clicking. You've got Brian Danielson's come in. You've got CM Punk's come in. You've got Adam Cole's come in. You've got Moxley,
Ruby,
and then you've got Ruby. You've got Britt.
I like Jamie Hayter too.
Jamie Hayter, I think, is going to be real good, mate. Real good. There's so many names that we've just named just off the top of our heads, without really looking and thinking about it, and like he's got to either do something special to get people's attention, change it up to get people's attention, or he's just got to kind of wait his turn, or just be a guy who takes
like
a
in
pin.
something with Ricky Starks. And he's like literally in something with Ricky Starks right now. I think they're just waiting to actually do the match.
Yeah. But mate, sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, there's guys who are like, they're not going to be the main guys, but they're going to be like in
role
feuds,
players.
and they're going to be part of the show. They're going to be in like little mini feuds with people, but ultimately when the big match comes, they're going to kind of lose the match or lose the feud, or the person's going to move on to the title picture or to the TNT title. But that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be an integral cog in the machine that is the weekly TV show. Not everyone is the main star.
Look at Malachi Black.
Exactly that, man.
Work Brock Anderson, Lee Johnson, and then he was kind of just doing promos for like 3 weeks, and then now he got the Grand Slam Dynamite and Arthur Ashe match against Cody, and he probably gonna win.
The Dark Order have taken a bit of a back step with Hangman.
I don't think that's gonna be for too long, my brother. That Rochester show coming up, I don't know.
Yeah, that's on my list, mate. I can ask you, do you think it's coincidence that they're kind of building this dissension in the Dark Order, and there's a show in Rochester, New York coming, and there's a certain brother who's going to be available.
Brody Jr. about to get off from school early.
Yeah, he's going to have a face-off with Brother Bray.
Oh my God.
They're building to something, mate, don't they? At the end of the day, they're either building to Hangman coming back to
or Anna Jay taking
straighten
over.
him out, Anna Jay taking over, or like you say, Brother Rotunda is coming in to sort him out.
I think I was telling you this. I think it was you, but I was like, because you, I'm pretty sure you've seen some of the written interviews or some of the articles, like some of the Dark Order members, like they've openly said they don't want a new leader, they don't want any new members, like legit. But I'm like, if there is anybody that you would pick to sort of fill that role, like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like you at some point you got to get with the program.
Yeah, man. And I think not just in terms of like he could turn
storyline. That's his real
everything.
Friend.
God, mate, can you imagine the emotion at that Rochester show? If something, I don't know how they'll do it, but something's happening, and the lights go out and he appears, and whatever they decide to do, like, it'll be so, not just a special moment for the show, new star coming in, etc., but also for who it is, where it is, who it's involving, everything about it. It would be so special. And I just think there's one guy, isn't there, like, who could do something with it.
Bro, he's like the only person, bro. Like, if they're not going to give it to Anna Jay, if she's not going to be the person that's taking over, then I think she should get first dibs. I'm gonna be complete, because she's been there. Like, I think it's just a proper, and it would elevate her in the sense, and then she can go straight for the title.
You, though, if Bray Wyatt comes in and is the guy and he takes over, do you then do a program with him and Hangman straight off the bat?
No.
Do you just have
stay
Hangman,
away from that?
Just have Hangman like ignore it and sort
of stay away from that, bro. Stay away from that. Don't don't do it. Don't do it.
I really, really hope they stick with the program with Hangman, and he is the one to take the title off Omega.
Oh yeah.
I really do. But you would understand if they kind of like went in a different direction now with all these different people coming in and the different options they've got. You could kind of understand it if they were like, look, you know what? Yes, that was the plan, but we've got Daniel Bryanson now, we've got CM Punk or, whoever. Like, I don't know.
Bryanson. That's what was funny.
I really having problems not saying Daniel Bryan. It's been ingrained.
It's been like 11 years, or like
you can't just switch it off, can you? Like you've got to say it. But yeah, I don't know. It's difficult, mate. It's a difficult one. Look, don't get me wrong. I know the Dark Order guys feel quite strongly about it, but ultimately, mate, like you said when we first started talking about this just now, if there's one person who can be the new leader of the Dark Order, it's Bray Wyatt, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, and you'd have to have the tissues out, mate, for that Rochester show if he comes in and takes over.
But I will say that I do think Anna Jay should get first consideration. And I just think that's just a loyalty thing. But if they do have plans for her to sort of still be in the Dark Order but do her own thing with Ty Conti, then that's fine. But like I'm just looking at out of everybody who could possibly take over the Dark Order as they go through this whole dissension program. Like it's Bray Wyatt, bro. Like it
seems to be that makes the most sense with what they're doing.
He sort of brings everybody back together.
Yeah, and like, so here's a question for you: if they're going in that direction, do you think he just goes back to like the old cult leader type gimmick, or do you think he brings something different, or like everyone assumes, I think, that he's going to come in, turn them all heel, and be the cult leader, but could a version of Funhouse Bray fit in with the kind of the way the Dark Order has been more recently, with like the Friends and they've all been quite babyface. Like, could you have Funhouse Bray be not Funhouse Bray, but like that kind of good guy Bray or whatever you want to call him as the leader, and then bring a version of the Fiend or whatever they'll call it as
I'm
character? Or do you think it should just be like?
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't want to see anything that he did in WWE. I don't want to see that Funhouse. Like, yeah, I don't want to see the Fiend, or I don't want to see, like, bro, that all that is dead. Like, I don't want to see that. It's like, I think all that stuff is like completely dead in the water. Like it's so washed out, and like it's not even like entertaining anymore. So I think the best thing would just be to go on TV and just let him be himself, bro. Like he can talk, he can do the whole mysterious, like, but I think the thing with sort of some of the AEW talents, they just let people go out there and just naturally gravitate toward talents, how they feel. Like if people gonna boo them, they gonna boo them. They gonna cheer them, and the AEW still going in the direction they're gonna go, but the people just gonna react how they want to react. And I don't think nobody's gonna boo him. I think that's probably gonna be like one of the biggest pops of the night if he does end up showing up. Yeah, I think anyway they should start that show off with like letting Brody Jr. like introduce the show, like not even nothing crazy, just have him come out on stage and be like, "Welcome to AEW Dynamite," and then you cut to the intro. Yeah. I think that what I'm saying.
You know what that means or something.
Something cool like that. But yeah, for Bray, I don't want to see the Funhouse. I don't want to see the no monster gimmicks. I don't want to see none of that. I just want to see him, regular Bray Wyatt, cool Bray Wyatt, laid back Bray Wyatt just give him the microphone, let him do his thing, and let him bring back Dark Order. And then I think Heyman is gonna go do his own thing. I think Heyman is gonna return at that Norfolk, Virginia show next month. And then that's when we get the build to Omega and Paige, and Paige is going to take the title off him at Full Gear. And then I don't know how Danielson is involved, because I want to see Danielson versus Omega too. But maybe Danielson versus Omega doesn't need a belt. Maybe that can be Omega's come down match. Maybe you just build Omega back up, get him some wins, and then you can do like Danielson versus Omega like around Christmas time or something like that.
Yeah, I think the thing with Bray as well is like, I think the guy, he is creative enough to come up with not another character necessarily, like gimmick, but like just a way of being interesting. Like, I think he's quite a creative, clever guy, and if that's just being himself completely, or if that's like a turned up version of himself, or if it's like a slightly different play on the kind of cult leader type thing, like, I'm sure he'll come up with something. He's done it before numerous times. But that you know, look, that seems what they're building towards. But you never know. Maybe there's a swerve in there somewhere. The Demon, mate, we saw on Smackdown last night. We haven't seen the Demon for, I think it's 2 years.
Yeah, last time was Mania 35.
They're bringing him back to face Roman Reigns.
Is he gonna lose?
Yeah,
is he gonna lose?
I think he's gonna lose. I think
Roman pinning the Demon.
Him. And is it a waste? I don't know. Like, is it just something which needs to be done to further Roman Reigns as this kind of triumphant heel who's going to beat everyone until he faces whoever the person is? I don't know. I wonder whether they may protect the Demon by having like Brock interfere or something, and there be a no finish, which is never my personal choice. But I'm not sure that beating the Demon's the right idea either. So, you know what? They didn't have to do the match, so that's always my answer. But they are, so we'll see what they do.
Hey, could you see Balor leaving?
Yes.
Did you know that he wanted to go to NXT UK before he went?
Yeah, he wanted to go to NXT UK before he wanted to go to Raw or SmackDown. Tells you everything you want to know. And I think, look, let's be honest, mate. The guy was one of the biggest names on the independent scene before he came to WWE. Now he's got like that mainstream rub. Like, he could go to AEW, he could go back to Japan and have a hell of a tear. My only thing would be
the right way.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing would be, I don't know whether he'd want to go back to Japan. Obviously, he's got married.
I forgot about that.
It would be whether they'd want to relocate, and you know what his family situation is at that time. But you never know, do you? Maybe his wife would like that experience of living out in Japan. I don't know. I don't know what their situation is, what their plans are for the future. But that would certainly come into it. Look, you can't begrudge these guys. One thing's for sure, that when his contract's up, he's going to be in a very strong position for negotiating. And if WWE want to keep him, they'll have to pay him, because otherwise he'll go somewhere else.
You want to know another name, bro? You want to know another name? Well, I was thinking about AJ Styles.
See, I think AJ Styles, out of all of them, I think he's done now. I think he's...
Are you talking about done wrestling, period?
Yeah, I think he's WWE until he's done. And then I just think he waited so long to be there. I think he's getting paid a lot. And I just think he kind of is happy where he is.
Didn't AJ say that he was done, like, after his contract was up?
Yes, he did. So I think, look, never say never, and especially when you've got some of his closest friends
probably nagging
in
him.
Another country. Do you know what I mean?
Nagging him.
Can you imagine, like, their WhatsApp group, the Elite WhatsApp group, which has been going for like the last 6 years or whatever, since AJ went to WWE? Their WhatsApp group started off as like the Good Brothers and AJ saying to Omega and the Young Bucks, "Come to WWE, come to WWE, come to WWE," and then it was come join us, and then they like this completely switched around now, and they're all saying, "Come on." Look, I would say never, and it would be stupid for me to sit here and say AJ Styles is never going to go to AEW. Of course, there's a possibility when you look at who's there. Everybody knows that he's got a lot of good friends there. But if you go on like the interviews and the things he said on his stream, I think it makes sense that he's probably going to finish off at WWE.
Yeah. I
Kevin Owens, mate, intrigues me, because I would like to see Kevin Steen turn up in AEW and tears
Bro,
some
he
shit up.
side, bro. He is like in the best position, bro. He's like literally in the same position Adam Cole
And
was.
yeah,
Like
I think he's to a
you
certain
can't
extent.
you can't
I
get no
think they
better than that.
value Kevin Owens more
Oh, of
than
course,
they
because he's been on
value
the main
Kevin
roster.
Owens.
He's been on the main roster. Like it's he's like did it. He even went through that
We go.
horrible Universal title run that people
Yeah,
keep talking about. Like I don't know if people just don't remember, but that title run was god awful.
yeah.
The drizzling shit. It was awful. I don't know why people keep. I see people always bringing that up. They're like, "Oh man, he was the Universal Champion." That was like one of the worst title
Shite.
runs I've ever seen. And there you go. That's my new word, shite. There we go. I like that.
Shite.
But yeah, nah, I definitely do think they value him more because he's such a key
He's
piece to the
such a
main to the
utility like
yeah
guy as well that he
to
can
the
do
main roster.
anything.
Like he can fit literally anywhere and you can do anything with him. But I just think he in a good position. Like I could definitely see them trying to like
He gonna get paid.
nag him. No, not nag him in a bad way, but like his friends, like, hey man, like like you could come be here with us. Like I think it'll be a cool thing, but like I think it will be good for wrestling, bad for WWE if he left. It'll be good for wrestling because it'll make things just overall more exciting and just the prospects of other people, going elsewhere. But at the same time, like I don't think WWE want to take that chance and trying to lose him. And you want to know it's gonna be very interesting to see how they book him in the coming months.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
they probably give him that good push.
yeah, you better
Like,
keep him happy, haven't you? Do you
hey
know what I
man,
mean? Like,
WrestleMania spot.
yeah, flipping heck. I said to Joe on the last episode, I said
Boo.
it wouldn't surprise me if this time next year AEW's hitting like 2 million, and that's not me saying that they will. That's me saying if like we had a time machine and we went forward, and that's what the figures were, it wouldn't surprise me because they're on the rise, they're on the up. They're signing people like Adam Cole, CM Punk, and Bryan Danielson, fucking hell, and potentially could sign the likes of Kevin Owens and the like. Do you know what I mean? Like if Kevin Owens jumped ship, like I think people underestimate how popular Kevin Owens is from the what people call the casual fan. Like he is a very popular dude because he's very likable on social media and things like that. Like he's a very he comes across at least as a very like normal guy, like a family man, but he's very entertaining as a heel. He's very entertaining as a babyface, and I just think if he would you here's a question then. If Kevin Owens was to see down his contract with WWE, go to AEW the first week that he's able to, like the man's got 1.3 million followers on Twitter. If he was to let his contract run down and then turns up on the very first Dynamite after his contract's up, is that bigger than Daniel Bryan leaving WWE?
No. I
Even
don't
though
think
because
any
of their age and because Daniel Bryan was away
bro,
for a few months.
bro, I don't think any acquisition is. I'm gonna just say right now, Danielson is 100% the biggest one, and that's just because of the last 8 years of his career in WWE, and you look at everything that he went through and what he's done, and I'm talking about went through as far as like injury wise and the big comeback and like headlining WrestleMania multiple times and being like a key piece of their programming for so long and doing all the charity stuff and like him being like having that yes chant that's like universal now, like people doing that at football games and like he's like such a massive star that like it's I don't even think he realizes how big his name is, and like now he's able to sort of mix the popularity that he's developed over the past whatever years he's been in WWE, and then bring back elements of what he was doing when he was in Ring of Honor. You just feel like he's saying, "Oh, kick your head and think again," sort
Yeah,
of nod to
loving it.
what he used to say, and they mix that in his theme song, which is great. They mix the chant in with his theme song, so like Brian is 100% going to be the biggest acquisition until like where you like if you really want me to like speculate as far as like,
Come on,
well, not necessarily,
reckless speculation.
not necessarily speculation, but more so like just who could compare to somebody like the hit of losing Brian. But you probably had to say, hey, we talking about from WWE. You could I mean if we looking at it from the women's division, you could say Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks,
That
Seth
that but
Rollins.
that would be losing her to the competition would be a massive number one. She's very popular. I don't know
Mainstream
if you
popular,
tell
she
to
is,
see
isn't she?
her fan base is ridiculous.
Oh, it's
Like she has a
unbelievable.
massive fan base, a massive social media following. And then on top of that, she can wrestle. She's probably the best wrestler that they got in the women's division right now. Like one of the best wrestlers in the company, no question. She's very, like again, very positive. And bringing that over to AEW, like that would be, I would say on par or right near Danielson. Like and then I mean, yeah, Sasha's probably like, I mean, you can, I mean, but like the only reason I can't say like Becky, because I don't see Becky Lynch leaving. Like I could see Sasha like when it comes to like a game time decision, I could
Yeah.
see her contemplating it.
Oh
Like,
yes.
you know,
Yeah. She could certainly play like they can. People like that just will have the ability to negotiate. Like to put this in perspective, like Becky Lynch is coming off one of the most incredible couple of years in wrestling, being the biggest name in wrestling, male or
mm-hmm.
female. Sasha Banks has more Twitter followers than Becky Lynch. So I know that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but in terms
Oh,
of
you might know. I wanted to mention something real quick. Do you know that they do a Mojo Rawley had did an interview with Cultaholic, and he's shared that they have a social media report, and that's how they dictate that's part of how they dictate who gets TV time, and they keep track of who gets like the most interactions and stuff like that, and like who
yeah,
people are like sort of clamoring for, and that's how they sort of dictate
but they
TV
don't listen
time.
to it clearly because
As I
they
said it, because I mean, if that was the case, Naomi would have been champion after she came
yes.
back at the Rumble, and Kiki Palmer wanted to play her in the movie. So
Jesus Christ, they've dropped the ball. Here's a question: were you surprised how many WWE stars openly tweeted about AEW as it was going on? Whether it was about Ruby Riott, Sasha Banks tweeted something about the final countdown and
that,
posted the
they,
song.
they were tweeting about stuff about NWA Power too. I think that was cool. That was really cool.
CM Punk as well. They mentioned like it's fascinating because for so long it did seem as like these guys were not allowed to talk about like the opposition or whatever you
I
want
just
to
don't
call
think
it.
they care now. Like it's like whatever.
Yeah, it's in this weird position, isn't it? Like, what are you going to do? Fire Sasha Banks? Okay, great. She's going to go and get paid and working in your competition. You're almost like just strengthening your competition. And what has happened now is where the bigger AEW gets, the more these wrestlers, these independent contractors, the more power they have back on their careers. Because for so long, they've been out of control of their careers. So I love the fact that these guys and girls have now starting to get a bit of more career, a bit more control
Control.
over
Yeah.
their careers.
Can,
They
can,
can
can, can I say
negotiate
something real
what
quick?
they're worth.
Can I say something real
Of
quick?
course you
We
can.
talking about all these signings. Let's talk about Tony Khan signing Lee Moriarty. I am
Great
very,
stuff.
very pleased about this. Like there was a whole ordeal about there not being there's a lack of diversity in AEW's main key programs, and there is there very much is. Like I think there's a decent amount of black talents in AEW that could rise to the main event. Like it's just a
Yeah.
matter of like you have to position them probably. Like I definitely think I'm gonna say this. I want to believe that that's what they're planning for Jade Cargill, but she's obviously still not
Yeah. She is
all there
quite
in
green,
the
isn't
ring.
she?
In the ring, like she can talk. She looks like a superstar. You can send her on the USA Today's and all the
Oh
talk
God,
shows
yeah.
and stuff. Like she'll blow that all away. She's stunning, and it's just a matter of like getting it together in ring because you got to complete it the whole thing. But I mean at the same time, you can combat that because they let Britt Baker learn on the fly. Britt Baker wasn't as good as she is now when
No,
she first started in AEW.
but do you think
But
that some of that was like nerves with her rather than not being ready?
I mean,
Like,
she was okay when she was in Ring of Honor, but it wasn't like anything. But I mean,
of course, she's got better.
but I mean, I mean, a part of me just wants to believe that they kind of got those same plans for Jade Cargill because because if she isn't champion
She's special.
by the end of next year, then but if she isn't champion or hasn't already been champion by the end of next year, something's wrong. But like
She'd be the one who I'd
people,
have take the title off Britt Baker next year. Probably
yeah,
at
but
All Out. I would
when
give
I'm
Britt
looking
Baker such a long run, like all the way through to next September, and I'd have Jade Cargill take it off her.
when I'm looking at like people like Scorpio Sky, I feel like they could like I think a lot of people are just very confused at like to how he had so much momentum at the start of AEW, all that's just gone like
Yeah,
right
I don't.
away.
But
Like
it's weird what they've done with him.
like even with you look at talents like Sonny Kiss, like I think Sonny can be very useful on TV. I
I
would
can't
really
even
like this.
remember the last time I saw Sunny Kiss on TV or anything.
I would really like to see Sonny in a match against like Miro for the TNT title. I think that'd be really cool. Like I feel like I feel like they just don't know what to do with something. They don't know how to present. Like that's a they don't know how to present. That's a gay black man on TV. Like they don't. I feel like AEW doesn't really know what to do, but I don't think it's this overly complicated thing that you just
Yeah.
let Sonny be. You just let Sonny be Sonny. Like I don't think it's like no thing where you gotta we gotta do this and do that. Like no, just let him go on TV and just let him do his thing. And then like the Sonny is obviously wrestle. Like Sonny's young, like 26. Like you know what I'm saying? I like the AEW dark stuff is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty like I mean you don't see Sonny complaining, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure at the end of the day he probably wants to do something on TV, and I don't see anything wrong or anything like you can easily just throw a TNT title match in there, like I just said, him versus Miro, build something to there, give it like a little month build, 4-week build, 3-week build, and just give it a big match on primetime TV. Like it'll work for all parties. Sonny will get over along the way. Builds Miro as a credible champion, dominant champion, and like you just go along from there. Like I don't think like it's so many different black people in AEW that I think could be like taking it to the next level, and even like I'm looking at Big Sport. And that's the only reason I sort of give him a pass on Big Sport because she was coming like down from like Crohn's, like her Crohn's was like flaring up, so she had to take time off and stuff like that. But she said she's like getting close to 100%. So and she had that the 3 strikes match against Diamante, and yeah, and but I would say they're utilizing Powerhouse Hobbs really well. Like he's like probably the most well booked black talent in AEW, you know. So I'm happy to see him sort of get his shine. But like this, but I think that Lee Moriarty signing, like if they find a way to sort of integrate him and find something special for him in that role, like you know, you want to know what I know a lot of people sort of were saying that they would like Danielson to like form like a group of young grapplers, and then like that'd be like his little clique, like him, Daniel Garcia, Willie Yuta, and Lee Moriarty. Like I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would really like for Brian's one of his first one of his first matches to be against Moriarty, and like you let them go like 17 minutes, and then you give him the handshake and the the little pat on the back of the head or whatever like that. And, just like Lee losing that would do more good for him than winning it. I swear it would. Like I mean, well, let me not say that. I think it. I think him losing would still do wonders for him if he was to go in a competitive match and just got to go in there and mix it up with Danielson. Like you imagine, like just like a Dynamite. He's just like, I'll meet Lee Moriarty versus Danielson. They go 17 minutes.
Yeah.
And then Lee loses in a hard fought match. That does more for him in the long term, and then you can eventually revisit that when Brian's a champion, and then run it back, and you could do the same thing that they did with Kobe versus Darby until Darby finally beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like ready made. Yeah, that's my rant.
Yeah, man.
That's my rant.
I completely agree with everything you just said. To be honest with you, so it'd be interesting, like how AEW does going forward, because they have got such a big roster. They're on fire. yes, they're doing well at the moment from from TV and all this sort of thing, but they're not perfect. There is things they need to work on and improve. So it'll be fascinating to see what they do to address some of those issues. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do. There was something I wanted to ask you about, and I've completely forgotten what it was. It'll come to me in a minute. Yeah, like I gotta say, I was trying to think of something to talk about from Raw or NXT. Obviously, we're going to be in the process of NXT having a bit of a change in outlook.
First show back next week.
Yeah. Best wishes to Triple H as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sad to hear about that.
A health issue. It's it's real. At the end of the day, when real life things come, the man's a husband and a father, and that comes before anything. The one thing which concerns, not the one thing, but one of the things that concerns me about it is there hasn't been like a photo of him, I don't know, like, giving the thumbs up or whatever from his hospital bed, which kind of like worries me a little bit. But, hopefully he's doing well and recovering well. Any idea who is going to be running NXT while he's away? Is
probably
it
Shawn Michaels and Matt Bloom?
Yeah, I was going to say just the guys. It sounds like, from what I was reading,
and NXT they got a whole creative team down there, so
yeah,
I'm sure they'll be all right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I read, is Vince and Pritchard are only going to be kind of working on the production side of things and the way it looks. They're not really going to be doing anything in terms of like the creative side at the moment. Is that right?
I mean, that's the report. Like, I really don't. I mean, that's with some of the reports, but I mean, yeah. I don't know. Like, for like you hear so many different things. Like I'm like I think the best, like what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just watch and then just see, and you can tell the difference between some of the products. So I mean, eventually we gonna see. So you're just gonna wait till the 14th.
Hey, look, and people are moaning, but like I believe that NXT has needed a bit of a refresh in its look for a while. Like particularly when it was going head on the Wednesdays. I feel like NXT did look a bit dingy and a bit dark and a bit, I don't know, like there was something that made AEW stand out immediately aesthetically compared to NXT. So I do believe that they needed a bit of a change up in look. However, recently I've been really happy with NXT creatively. I think they've been very good again. So I'm hoping they don't change too much.
But I really like that they're building to this hit row, Legado del Fantasma 4-on-4. I really and Legado
War
Elden.
Games, really. When's the next War Games? When do they normally do War
Electra
Games?
Lopez, November, 2 months.
Oh, see,
November.
Yeah. Hit row, Legado, War Games, baby, give it to me. That would be some good shit.
Me and you in War Games.
Yeah, well, I got an army of children who will take you out with a click of my fingers. Just take your knees away. So we haven't spoken for a couple of weeks on the camera.
I've been ducking you.
In that time, what's your favourite match that you've watched?
Let me pull out my list. I have a list.
Sure you do.
I got a couple.
Come on then, hit me.
Walter versus Ilya at TakeOver.
Yeah, that was pretty good, to be fair.
Lucha Brothers versus the Bucks. All out.
It was very good.
Myron Reed versus Ace Austin at the AAW Destination Chicago show.
And of course, I'm sure Big Show versus QT Marshall was on there as well.
It was Big Show.
Poor White, come on. No point playing that game. That was a 5-star classic. It was there for a reason.
It did what it needed to do.
Broke it up, baby. I would like to finish off by just saying one thing I'm happy about from Raw, which is not a lot. I'm happy that the RK Bro getting what seems like a semi-decent push. Also, that Damian Priest continues to be protected. I am happy about that. And then finally on
the WWE title match is on Monday. It's supposed to be at Extreme Rules.
Is that this Monday? Yeah.
Yeah. And did you hear? I don't think anybody. I think I was like the only person who called. Did you hear Big E say that he was gonna be on Raw next week?
I didn't know.
He literally said he was like, I'm gonna be on Raw. He said when I pop up on Raw, and I don't know if nobody caught that. Like I put it in my Smackdown notes last night for pose. He legitimately said, like, he was like, when I pop up on Raw next week, I was like, okay. And that was before they announced the title match. So that's making me think,
he's gonna cause a fuss.
And
he's gonna cause a kerfuffle.
I'm just saying, I'm on a round of Raw with John next week. So if Big E cashes in, you will be hearing a 10-minute rant from Andrew Thompson about how Big E is the new world champion.
But
no complaints.
So did he say I could go to Raw next week? I'm going to Raw next week?
See, now you confuse me.
But then, if there's a title match, it would make sense for him to be there.
But I think he said something along the lines of he could pop up on Raw. I think he said he could pop up on Raw next week, but he was just like more so like very direct in what he was saying, if that makes sense. So that just made me think like, oh well,
he's coming.
Yeah, he's coming.
He's coming, and he's going to take. Because
don't they do that whole thing where like another person could come from like another brand, like one, like maybe twice a quarter or some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that. But the Money in the Bank guy can do what he wants anyway, can't he? Because he can cash in on any title. So, technically, I suppose he could go anywhere.
Oh, you think we getting Brock and Roman at that Saudi show next month?
Yeah, probably. I think that makes the most sense.
So he's definitely beating Balor.
Yeah, he's gonna. There's nothing that makes me think that he's gonna.
Can you imagine if Balor took
took the title off Roman right before he was facing Brock?
That's how they gonna get him to ink that 5-year deal, brother.
Yeah. And then as soon as he's inked it, they'll have Brock
take the shit off him.
Destroy him in 10 seconds. And kill that motherfucker. Yeah.
Is that real quick? I did want to ask you this. Who you think will win the Queen of the Ring tournament?
Toni Storm should win it, but it'll probably be.
You are very optimistic, brother.
Well, yeah, she can't even get on TV, but she should win it. That would be a great way to catapult her into where she should be. But I think it's more likely that someone like Sasha would win it, or Liv Morgan, yeah. Maybe a Carmella, someone like that.
Maybe that's how you bring Asuka back.
Yeah, didn't I see a picture of her in a sling?
Is she in a sling? Mm-hmm.
But, slings are deceptive, aren't they? Because they can often... You could be in a sling till and then the next day you're out of it, and you're fine. It's a bit of it's deceptive as a sling. Before we finish up, mate, is there anything else you would like to talk about from the
I have an interview on my YouTube channel and on post with the young GOAT, Roxy, who is going to be competing in the finals of the ROH Women's World Title tourney. She could be the youngest women's champion in Ring of Honor history at the young age, the crisp age of 19 years old.
Wow.
What a feat she could accomplish.
I saw I saw you also have an interview. You had Matt Taven on. I saw a clip.
Oh no, that was old. Like you not just chop up clips. Like
chop up the clips. Yeah. Come and do my clips, mate. Because I really I want to put loads. I got loads of clips which I want to put out, and I just haven't got the time to do it.
Yeah, I just throw something up like if I don't have like a new interview up. But yeah, shout out to that brother Chris Hero for his nice words.
Yes, mate. I saw that. What a legend.
Very nice.
He seems like a top guy, mate. I gotta be honest.
He
But
did
he
it
ain't
at
wrong, mate. He ain't wrong. You was the top dog.
He
Top
did it at my
dog.
birthday too. That was very nice. Very, very nice.
What a legend. But so we'll be back soon, hopefully next week. But we'll see how the schedules figure out. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, but or download the audio. The downloading the audio version helps me a lot. If you can download the audio version of this show, it helps me so much. But also follow, subscribe, whatever it may be. But most of all, check out youtube.com/Andrew Thompson interviews for the best interviews in the game, and give Andrew a follow. His wrestling news roundups are now legendary. The people will talk. They talk about them for years.
Oh yeah, and what I did. You real quick before we get out of here. I know you are real big on mental health. I did want to talk to you about Daphne, who passed away. I was gonna let you sort of,
distressing, mate.
Yeah, it was very, very disheartening thing to read what happened. And I'm pretty sure people, saw some of the clips or videos and stuff like that. And, she was in a bad mental space. You know what I'm saying? It unfortunately got the best of her. So, blessings to her family. And, I think people should, really, I mean, just be nice to people, bro. Like, I don't know her exact situation or what exactly was wrong, but you know what I'm saying? It don't cost nothing not to be no asshole to nobody. So
it takes more effort to be an asshole to people than it does to just say nothing or be nice.
Right, there you go.
I don't understand the kind of wanting to bring negative energy to people, but if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing. That's what my mum always used to tell me. So I try and tell my kids the same thing. If you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything. Because
it's free to be quiet.
Yes, absolutely, mate. Some people are just dickheads for the sake of being a dickhead. And I'll never understand it. Never. But, such is life. People are different. But of course, as I say to anyone, if you're having a tough time, keep going and always, send me a message. I'll talk to you.
It's somebody out there that care. Guarantee you.
Yeah, always. There is always someone who will listen. Always someone who cares. It's just finding that person, and it's very, very difficult. It's very disheartening some days. Some days are hard, You've got to get through those tough days to enjoy the good days.
There you go. That's a nice quote. I like that.
Indeed, my friend. Guys, check out Andrew's YouTube channel. Subscribe to his Twitter and all that malarkey. And, of course, Ace Podcast Nation. We'll be back very soon, hopefully next week. We'll see if Andrew's still big timing us, asking us for thousands. But we'll be back. Join us. Spread the word.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
I've been all in my bag, you been all in my business. You be all in your feelings. I've been all in them trenches. I've been all in